look, let's talk your club, Lukaku.
Yeah.
He's on his way out.
Yeah.
What's your take?
It's been an absolute disaster, hasn't it? It's hard. You can't dress it up for anything other than it just hasn't worked, has it?
But why? Because he was brilliant at the start of the season. You can say that interview, and I know that's an easy
well,
excuse.
I've got my own take on this. Is that he suffered as a result, as Chelsea did, and Tuchel had to change when we lost long term left wing back and right wing back. Chilwell and Reece James were absolutely flying at the beginning of the season. I said to you in the meeting, there's a stat that those two boys at the beginning of the season, I think it's 5 games, I could be wrong, but around about 5 or 6 games, at the beginning of the season they played together. The aggregate score in those 5 games was 18 goals scored, 1 conceded. If you remember Lukaku's first goal, Reece James supplies the bullet as he runs across, gets in front of, I can't remember if it was the Arsenal defender, but he bullies him on the edge of the box. And I felt that Tuchel, that took a huge amount away from us as a club.
Yeah.
And I think Tuchel needs a huge amount of credit, not only to get his top 4, but he kept us in and around there. Got us to 2 finals without those 2 players. Come up short in the Champions League, pushed Real Madrid as far as we could. But those 2 players were such a big loss, a huge loss to the way that Tuchel wanted to play. And Alonso done a great job. I like Alonso as a wing-back. He's not Ben Chilwell. Aspilicueta, he's a brilliant servant. Done ever so well. Whoever played that right wing-back, he ain't Reece James. Do you know, those 2 boys were up and down, up and down. There was a game against Newcastle early part of the season, and they were just, I think they got a goal each. They were just magnificent. And I think Lukaku, part of what we were going to try and do, and because we lost them so early in the season, it's difficult to say this with a great deal of certainty, but I reckon Lukaku would have fed off a lot of those balls being whipped in, using the width. Reece has got brilliant delivery, as has Ben Chilwell.
Right, but they're players that are still at the football club. So why are you getting rid of a player when them players are going to be back next season flying?
Well, I wonder...
You could potentially miss out on having a Lukaku.
Yeah, but the damage is done. The rot is set in. There's too much. The interview that he gave around Christmas time as well, very bizarre. Yeah, really an odd thing to do.
Yeah, it was.
Even though when the interview went out, it was recorded sometime before that. I think quite a few weeks. It wasn't done in days. It was quite a few weeks. And he was out. He had an injury, Lukaku, and he came back. And he wasn't in the team. He was living left out. And then he scored the goal. I think the goal against Villa. I don't remember that. He come off the bench. It goes down the right-hand side. Yeah. I think he wins the penalty in the end. But that was the Lukaku I thought we'd start to see more of. But I have a bit of sympathy for him. I felt at times we didn't play to his strengths. Mm-hmm. There were a number of times where I felt that we could have got that ball into him earlier, and we didn't. And I felt that Tuchel was so concerned, well, no, not concerned, so concentrated on trying to get the best of the team because we missed Chilwell and Reece. I wonder whether the focus of trying to get Lukaku the best out of him was lost a little bit. It's hard. There are so many facets to this. Look, let's have it right. Let's have it absolutely right. He was poor. Let's get the first thing right. Yeah, he was poor. But I feel sorry for him because I think that it wasn't necessarily just down to him. There was games where I looked at it and think, come on you. That is not good enough.
I mean, how hard is it as a player? You've been a player. You've gone through hard times. How hard is it to get through that period, to come out of it and be like, no, I'm staying, I'm sticking around? Or do you think he was a little bit weak mentally and has gone...
I thought he was a bit pathetic at times.
Yeah?
I think so. Some of the games,
Bit harsh.
Well, I thought he was. I thought he was. I felt that, when, you see some players that put a little bit more in and maybe, a loss of confidence, maybe. I'm not convinced he really wanted to be there. His body language at times, I think, displayed one. But again, I go back to the point I made earlier. I felt sorry for him at times because there were runs that he was making and there were chances to put the ball earlier into his feet where we didn't put that ball into his feet. I felt we could have done that a lot earlier. A couple of times towards the end of the season, I can't remember who we played, there was a lovely ball into the edge of the box and he pinned the centre half. He spun and shot. The ball didn't go in, but I remember thinking, I'd done the commentary, saying that we haven't done enough of that into Lukaku now, whether it was a trust issue, whether at times... he didn't show himself enough.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, it's like as a midfielder, you know better than me. If you keep looking up thinking, when that ball comes into me, I'm just going to play it into your feet. Yeah. Right? I'm going to play it first time. You don't even have to look sometimes. This ball comes in, I'm going to play it. You have to be showing. Maybe there are times that ball he wasn't showing enough. Yeah, there's not one thing. There's a number of things, but I don't think he.
But look, he's in the 100 club.
Yeah,
he's in the Premier League 100 club.
Yeah.
Breezed into it, and he's flopped twice at Man United and Chelsea.
Yeah.
So,
this is a huge flop for him. This is, like I said, I'm not convinced he wanted to be. I'm not totally convinced he wanted to leave Inter. The interview that he gave, apologising, almost, thanking them for what they'd done. What,
we always left the door open to go back.
Well,
didn't
he did. And Tuchel, I was never really convinced that Tuchel felt he was going to be the answer. And I think Lukaku probably felt that. He looks one of those, like those centre forwards that needs to have someone to show huge trust in him, huge belief in him.
Yeah.
He was in and out the team. They were look, Chelsea's best side last season didn't have him starting in it. Havertz up top. We were a better, more fluid side with Havertz in the team. Anyone that watches football, they can't argue with that. No. They can't. And I think Lukaku would see Havertz come in, play well, score goals, and I think he would probably feel, I've come for 90 million, whatever, and actually, I'm not better than Havertz, who hasn't come as a centre forward.